This week we are going to be doing nature weaving. Many of you have probably done weaving before, so it's just the act of weaving something in and out of a series of strings like this. So this is the same as weaving with strings or paper like you may have done in the past, but instead we're just doing it with nature. All you need for this project is a piece of cardboard. Something from an old box works perfect. Something from like a cereal box won't work as well, but it can work if that's all you have. Then you need some string. It can be yarn, which usually works best. It could be thread, regular string. It could be even tooth floss or fishing line, whatever you have. You're going to need a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, that's okay. You can just try your best to cut things as even as possible, but it helps to have one. Some scissors and a pencil. And then just things from nature. So dandelions, leaves, grass, flowers, whatever you can find. I just went for a nice little walk around my apartment complex. It's a beautiful day out, and just picked a bunch of things that I saw on the ground. I tried my hardest not to pick things off of trees or living things. It works really good when someone just cut the lawn, so things are already kind of chopped off and you can just grab them off the ground, or it's a super windy day out, so if flowers blow off the trees, grab them. But please don't disturb living things. We want to use the environment for our art without harming it. So without further ado, let me show you how to make one of these really cool weavings. Your first step is to make a series of lines all the way across two sides. I'm going to do it on the short sides because I like the way that looks better. So what I'm going to do is take my ruler, line it up with the edge of my cardboard, and I'm going to make a mark at every ½ inch. So half, 1, half, 2, half, 3, half, 4, half, 5. And that's all I got. So I want to make sure that I have the same number of lines on this side as I have on this side. So with my ruler, I'm just going to scooch it over to the other edge and do the same thing. If you don't have a ruler, just make sure you count your lines so that you have the same number of lines over here, and try your best to space them out evenly. So you can see the spaces between each line is pretty even. So again, lining it up at the edge, and make a mark every ½ inch. So now I'm going to cut each of those lines. I'm only going to cut about like a fingernail size. So you can see most cardboard has these lines like this. So I'm just going to cut up to the first line on each side. So wherever I made a mark, cut just up to the first line on that cardboard right there. Do that all the way across for both sides. So now you should have equal number of slits on both sides of your cardboard. Now is where your string comes in. So I'm going to take my first string and I'm going to find the top slit on one of the sides. I'm just going to start on the left. So the very top one, and pull my yarn through it. You want to make sure there's a nice tail at the end. You don't want it scooched all the way to the end. It's going to be hard to tie off. So make a nice little tail, and it's pulled all the way in. Next, I'm going to take this string and go all the way across my cardboard and find the very first slit. So I don't want to just go anywhere. I want to find the very first one from the top, which is this one. So I'm going to pull it through and make sure it goes all the way behind. Now, I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. So I'm going to pull it all the way across my cardboard and find the next open slit. So this first one has already been used, so I'm going to go to the very next one, which is here. Pull it all the way in and flip it back over. So I'm just going to keep doing that all the way across. Find the first open one, pull it through, flip. All the way across, first open one, pull it through, flip. Make sure you're not skipping any. If you do this, it's not going to work. So make sure you're going to the very next open one, flipping it, and going all the way across. You're going to do that all the way down until there are no more spots for your string to go. So when you're done, you should have no more slits open, and it should be nice and even. So now you're going to flip it over, and with the rest of that string, I want to clip off just a tail. Make sure you don't clip all the way up to the edge, or else you won't be able to tie it off. So, clipping a tail. Autumn wants to show you her tail too. There's our tail. Now go away. And like I said, this will stick pretty good by itself, but if you want to make sure it's nice and stuck, go ahead and just tie it around one of your strings. So I'm just going to tie it tight twice to make sure it's nice and tight. And I'm going to do that on my other one too, just to make sure it sticks. And now you should be ready to weave. So when you're looking for materials to weave, look for nice long things that will be able to fit all the way across your cardboard. So I'm going to choose my first one. I'm going to start with this cute little flower. And when you weave, you always need to start from one side. So whether it's the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. I'm going to start from the top. So when I start, whether it's over the string or under the string, so I'm going to go under the first string. You always need to do the opposite on your next one. So I can't go under this one too because I already went under the first one. So I'm going to go under, and now I'm going to go over that string. So the next string, I'm going to have to go under. So I just lift up the string and push it under. Again, back over and under. Make sure you don't skip any. This is usually the biggest mistake people make, is that they'll accidentally go under two, or they'll go over two, and then under, and it'll mess up the flow. So make sure you're always going over, then under. So since under, over, and under. Do that until your piece can't fit any further. And now I'm just going to scooch this over to the edge by just tapping on it up and down, so I have room for the rest. Perfect. Now I'm going to use this little stick I found on the ground. So now I'm going to start back at the top, and I'm going to check how my other one started. So my first one started with the flower going under the string. So this time, my stick needs to go over the string to start with. If I go under, it's not going to work. So I'm starting over the string, so then my next one should be under. And just like before, go every other. So my next string, I'll go over it, and then under my next string, over, under, over, under, until you are all the way across. Beautiful. And just like before, I'm just going to tap it until I scooch it over, and I fit it next to my cute little flower. Let's keep going. I'm going to pull out a little dandelion. Now that I have my first couple down, I can start from the top or the bottom. So I'm going to be crafty and flip this one over and start from the bottom. Just make sure you're doing the opposite of the one before. So my stick is under the first string, so that means this needs to go over the first string. Always do the opposite. Then under and over. Under the string and over the string. Under, over. So hopefully by now you're getting the hang of it. As long as you keep things opposite of the thing before it, you should have no problems. So as you see, it's kind of starting to make a little bit of a checkered look to it. So just keep doing this, and you should end up with a super cool nature weaving. One extra bonus thing you could do before you cut out anything, before you add the strings, is paint your background. And it could shine through all your little weavings and look pretty cool. It's going to be so fun to see what these look like when they dry up. You could easily put these in a frame, hang them up on the fridge, and see kind of what these dried flowers turn out to be. And there you have a nature weaving. So it turns out pretty cool. Usually the strings, if you made them tight enough, hold it really well. When it does dry, it will get a little bit more loose. So if you have glue and you want to glue down the edges, go for it. And you also can come through when you're done and just kind of weave in the smaller ones. I have some that were smaller that didn't really fit all the way across, but if I want to kind of add a couple here and there in the middle, just to fill it up with some cute flowers, go for it. So have fun, be safe going out and picking your nature materials, and as always, have fun creating.